this in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. 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 Yeah, I just wanna be great.
To appreciate all that is vacant, it's just for the taking. If you make up your mind to take it, I'm never complacent. I would work in a mansion or basement, yeah. There's no replacement for persistence, it's a patience, yeah. In this life, I wanna be soaring, to feel sun inside when it's pouring, and I'll fight till anxiety is foreign. I'm so sick of my mind's extortion.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. 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 Yeah, I just wanna be great.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 3 of the Post Bell podcast for SmackDown. I'm starting a little bit early before Earl gets here at 10:20. I just wanted to run over the card real quick and give my thoughts. I was not a fan of that SmackDown, but I will get into that. Daniel Berry Sports is here right away, right off the bat. Obviously, always here, always a loyal viewer. I appreciate that for sure, 100%. Yeah, I don't know, that SmackDown was not it for. I mean, it was taped, so sure you can, whatever. But yeah, not a fun episode, or not an episode that I expected to see, given that everything was how SmackDown has been going. Yeah, I'm doing my Twitter scroll first, right off the bat, to see if anything is popping up, and see how SmackDown was taken by all the fans and whatnot. Also, I'm looking and seeing the Olympics opening ceremony was a joke. Wow, what a joke. Okay, who cares? Yeah, Terrence Crawford was part of SmackDown tonight. Oscar De La Hoya apparently sent a message to Jake Paul. A 2-on-1 MMA match ended in a brawl after the Lone Fighters coach. Okay, wow. So just a weird night for sports in general. There we go. There's WWE's Twitter page. I'm just trying to see what what was officially on the card. There was so much I didn't get a chance to write it down because Mitch and I were going and being active with the chat, which was you guys in the chat were awesome. So we got about 6 minutes, 11, 12 people watching right now, right off the rip. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we will have Earl here probably in about 5-ish minutes or so, I would say. But running through the card, the main event was what it was. Nia Jax squashes ends. There he is. Say his name and he appears. What's up, Earl?
How you doing?
I'm doing that episode. That SmackDown was, whew, yeah. I don't know what to make of that episode of SmackDown. I was not a fan of it. What are your thoughts on it?
I thought it was very vanilla.
Yeah,
I thought it was very vanilla. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you have a show that runs up against the Olympics as the opening ceremony tonight, your effort is really not going to be into the episode. They were taping the episode last week anyway,
that's true.
and
That's true.
yeah. So the effort is not going to be there. It's just going through the motions, and I think that that's exactly what they were doing tonight. They were just trying to get over the hump and get over the taping and get the revenue and get the money that they needed for the taping and then keep it moving. But there were some bright spots in the whole thing. The bloodline again showing their dominance, and they're showing their dominance, and yeah, and I was just I said to myself, I says, now here's the question that I have, and here's the question that I think everyone is going to be: are we going to get a transitional tag team champs next week? Because it looks like the bloodline is going to be Liv Morgan. How are you tonight? Are we getting a new viewer?
Yeah. How's it go? Oh man, live. Yeah. I think everyone needs a dose of live, but
I don't need a dose of these are the days of live.
I
No. Oh, okay. Well, I'll get out the way, then you get married.
So
Yeah.
like you were saying, the bloodline and their dominance. Yeah. Solo
Yeah.
Sikoa, his vignette at the end. Mitch and I made the note. He's getting better on the mic with his promo. Jacob Fatu continues to be Jacob Fatu. The tease at the very end saying, Roman Reigns, if you want to step to me, you know where to find me. Them showing Roman's picture on the screen. So I mean, I think it's
I
pretty safe to
don't.
say. It's pretty safe to say. I think our tribal chief is coming back next Saturday.
Yeah. Something. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I think we're gonna get new tag team champs next week. I think that's exactly what's going to happen here because there's just no way Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano are going to survive the
Yeah.
bloodline. The interference is just going to be all over the place. They're going to be up to shenanigans. They're going to be up to things, and you know that that's the road that they're going to be traveling on. It's a shame. It's a
Yep.
shame that they didn't get a chance to have a long, lengthy tag team title reign. But when you take on the bloodline, it's just not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yep. I agree. It was interesting seeing that they're putting it on SmackDown next week, both the WWE tag titles and the women's tag titles on SmackDown next week, and not on the actual SummerSlam card.
the card is too large. The
Given
card
that
is already large.
Johnny Gargano is from Cleveland, um, you would think. I mean, it's still in Cleveland. He still gets to perform in Cleveland or whatever, and I mean that also could go to him ultimately losing the tag titles because of how WWE has always booked the talent in their hometowns. give it the long history of them losing titles in their hometowns whenever they are defending titles or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It yeah, it is very, and like I said it a couple times during the stream. They've kind of backed themselves into a corner with multiple different aspects of the roster, of the talent, of what they're doing on TV. It just it's not good. It's not a good look. Um, um, Cody is still looked at as an underdog. He still has to get over this bloodline hump, which is that not what he just did when he had, the Cody Vengers help him beat Roman Reigns, one person, and now he is crumbling at the hands of Solo Sikoa and his minions. And not only that, but half the roster is being taken out every single week. Yet again, they're doing the same thing they did to Roman now to Cody. So, but go ahead. You were about to say something, but I was in the zone to get that out.
No, no, no. I wanted you to finish your thoughts. I didn't want to. I didn't want to interfere or anything like that. I was
No,
just listening to what you had to say and take it all in.
yeah,
Um, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm concerned with here. All right. You have Gargano and you have Tommaso Ciampa. They're the tag team champs. What I'm concerned with is that okay, you put the belts on them only to have them get them taken off of them to give them to the bloodline, and I don't I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a
yeah,
fan of that. I think that they should have gotten at least a long, lengthy title reign. But that's not what that is not. I don't believe that's what they're gonna do. Now, if they retain the titles next week, I will be shocked. I'll be shocked about that.
yeah,
I'm going to be very shocked at that if that takes place. But I just have a feeling in my bones, and I just have a funny feeling that that is not going to be the case. Not with
yeah,
them on the floor, not with them on the floor, and not with them not playing around on the floor and interfering behind the referee's back. So I'm going to say Gargano and Ciampa are not going to survive Cleveland next week in the go home show. They're not going to survive that. Um, so that, that, that's all I have to say about that. Now, if Roman comes out, let's play a devil's advocate here.
mhm.
If Roman comes out and helps Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa retain the titles,
There you go.
that is something. That is something. That is the silver lining in the
Yeah,
cloud of uncertainty. Because then we know exactly what side Roman is in on
hmm
here. Because Heyman was taken out 3 weeks ago, and he was laid to waste. Um, Orton was laid out. He was laid to waste and everything else. So what if listen, let me see if you agree with this, Nick. What if Roman comes out? Then Owens comes out. Then Orton comes out. And we got a party on the floor and they start taking out the bloodline. Now they're all distracted while this is going on, and they retain the titles. Now that is something that I think could possibility happen.
right, right. I mean, that's a stretch of blurring the lines of Cody has gotten Randy Orton and Kevin Owens on his side. They've been his boys. They've had his back, and then all of a sudden Roman comes out, and then they just go to him. I think that sends a message of they're once again saying Roman is our guy, not Cody. So I mean it would be crazy insane if then Roman would or Cody would also come out, and we just have that sense of an enemy. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, where Cody comes out and steps to Roman and says, "This is my fight," or whatever, or "You can have your turn when I'm done," and blah blah blah. Um, but I mean, I think if they took Roman off of SmackDown to begin with, I think they're saving the return for SummerSlam.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right about that. Sports guy says it makes sense. Yeah, I think it does. I think it does make.
Yeah, it makes sense why the match is on SmackDown and not SummerSlam. So he doesn't. Oh, he's probably referring to when I said
Oh,
about Gargano not being on the SummerSlam card
oh, okay,
in Cleveland Brown Stadium. Um, yeah, I mean, I looked at the SummerSlam card real quick, and there's 7 matches on it. So
right,
when Mitch had said about the show starting at 7, if they would do a pre-show match, which at that point I would be okay with them doing an hour pre-show match because the kickoff show itself starts at 5 o'clock. So
right,
we don't need 2 hours of the kickoff show. Do the kickoff show from 5 to 6. Do or even 5 to 7, and then from 7 to 8, you can do a pre-show match or 2 pre-show matches. Also get in your advertisements, throw in some video packages, throw in your everyone arriving to the arena. Logan Paul is going to have a couple prime advertisements. He's going to be talking about Jake Paul if he's going to make it, if he's actually going to be over in Paris the entire time. With Team USA for boxing. All the Jelly Roll, I think, is going to perform live at SummerSlam. You could have him, show him getting there and everything. Like, I mean, because 7 matches. They're already going to do 7 matches in what, 3.5 hours? Like, 4 hours. I mean, they're all title matches except for one. They are
right.
all title matches except for one. So, to not have, any set of tag team championship on the SummerSlam card itself, but instead have, both the men's and the women's tag titles being on SmackDown. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I would rather have a card with, a big card with 10 matches and, start it at 7 or really at 6 and do pre-show and have 2 matches on the pre-show and then start the actual card at 7 and then do, 8 matches on the actual card itself. Then just have, make the big advertisement for these matches, being the big deal and making them on SmackDown like they did with the Andre the Giant Battle Royal during the pandemic era and Thunderdome era. I don't know, but
Right.
I don't know, from what they've been like this week on SmackDown especially. Like, I was not a fan of SmackDown tonight.
Yeah, I again, like I said, this was taped, and I believe they were just going through the motions. The matches were all right. They were not stellar matches. I'm not talking that, I'm not going to go up there and say these were classics or anything. But they were all right for what it, I always use that line, it was good for what it was.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I use that line. It was good for what it was. Joshua, um, yeah, I know you hated it. Um, but, yeah, it's just that they were just going through the motions tonight. I'm not going to use the word I didn't hate it. It was all right for what it was. The show got a C for me. I gave it a C. I couldn't give it no grade than that. And that was the best I can do. That was the best I can come up with. The main event, I did not like when Nia pinned
Yep.
the champion. I
Yeah.
did not like that at all. I don't think that Bailey should have had the pin. I believe that Meacham should have hit the pin if that's the road you were going to travel on. But that's not what they did. And again, like I said, it's poor booking. It's just poor decision making booking.
Yes.
You don't pin the champion. You don't pin the champion. I've said this a million and one times. You don't pin the champion in a match. Throw her on the outside. Make sure that she can't come back in the match, and then the other person eats the pin. That's how it should work.
Yeah.
I'm a staunch on that, and that is just my opinion and my opinion only. If you believe if you believe differently, then that's fine. I'm not gonna say you're wrong or anything like that. I'm not gonna step on your thought process, but that's just my opinion.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I was saying the same thing. I was like, it kind of spells out and lays out what we're going to get at SummerSlam. Whenever the champions do lose on on TV in the weeks leading up to now was it you can make the argument, oh, it was a tag match. um she got taken out by with the briefcase, so there was interference and this and that. But yeah, I agree. Don't pin the champion and then all of a sudden have her retain next week or whatever.
Yeah,
And everyone reads into everything differently. They say, oh, if looking at the card, they say if Gunther wins as a heel, then
yeah,
the baby
yeah.
is going to retain the other title or whatever. So
Right.
everyone can read it into it differently, but realistically, I don't like playing that game. I just like to watch it and see what unfolds. But yeah, I mean, it's stupid. It is kind of dumb booking to have a champion lose in a tag match, in a non-title match or whatever. But
Yeah, it
so
was whack.
to go over the card, it started out with the Bloodline and Nick Aldis, Tama Tonga or Tonga Loa, whichever Tonga got hurt, suffered an eye injury, was deemed unable to compete in the gauntlet. So Jacob Fatu subbed in, and I think right away you knew that they were going to win. That went right into LA Knight doing a walking promo going into the arena, out to the ring, and facing Santos Escobar. I didn't care about this at all one bit up until Logan showed up. So Logan, showed up, beat LA Knight up. It was great. Then that went into Logan saying, "Oh, Mister Cleveland has a surprise homecoming." Blah blah blah. So we'll see Logan next week in Cleveland. So I mean, depending on when Jake would go over to Paris to be with Team USA, we could see him in Cleveland at some point. But I would bet that Logan will bring someone else with to be with him on his side for his match against LA Knight in SummerSlam. What are your thoughts on LA Knight, Santos Escobar, the Bloodline, Nick Aldis opening up the show, and then Logan making that they have a surprise homecoming for me next week. So
Yeah, the opening segment with Nick Aldis and the Bloodline, I had no issue, I had no problem with it.
yep, yep,
It was all right for what it was. I mean, it was okay. Nick Aldis is a great general manager of SmackDown. He's trying to do the best he can
yep,
to try to contain this bloodline, but he has to be careful how he messes with that bloodline because they'll take him out too. They'll put him on the shelf. They're not hesitant to put anybody on the show who gets in their face. They don't care who it is or who authority figure it is. They're ready to make you go into the ambulance and be done away with it, and you're going to be home sucking through a straw. That's the way they operate. Um, so yeah, so that was all right. The LA Knight promo, that was fine. I like that new production that they're doing with the
yes,
camera following them around, and they're doing this, and he's doing the promo, and they're walking around with the camera. I like that cinematography kind of the thing going on. I like that. That makes my heart grow fonder. The match itself was all right. It was fine for what it was. As I said before, I say it again. It was fine for what it was. I am bored to tears with Santos Escobar and Elgato del Fantasma. That needs to get off of WWE TV immediately.
Yeah.
They are just like Karrion Cross and the True Testament. Boring. Boring. I am bored to tears.
Yep.
Every time I do Raw and I see Karrion Cross, I think of you. And I said, now I think Nick is falling asleep. I have to call him after the show and wake him up and tell him it's over. And oh my God, it is just, it's just that they're boring. That is a boring fact. Two boring factions.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
um,
We're gonna get into their part in the gauntlet match. At whenever we get further down the rest of the card for what
right.
went down on SmackDown, which I mean it just everything about it just felt off. Um I mean it just I understand that we knew it was taped and everything like that, and the most of the roster was over in Japan and whatever, but I mean, just I'm surprised at how bad and how underperforming that it felt like it did, given that it's primarily the same people that we see week in and week out on SmackDown. But it just I don't know, something about it just just was not. I don't know if they played more commercials because it was taped or what, but I didn't care for really any. I mean, there were parts where I was like, okay, that's kind of fun, I guess, but um after the Logan Paul segment, we got a Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi interaction backstage. At one point, someone on my Facebook said maybe a Naomi heel turn here for Bianca and Jade, kind of staying the course as a team and not including Naomi besides whenever they run into her backstage. They showed the Blair Davenport and Naomi segment from last week, so maybe we'll get more of that. Then we went into the Street Profits. BFAB had a backstage segment with Terrence Crawford. Um, After that, we saw Nia and Tiffy in the locker room with the broken briefcase, in which Nia Jax said that she was going to get her a better one that was suited for her better. So I'm assuming they're going to have a custom briefcase for Tiffany within the next week or two. Then we started the gauntlet match, which at this point, I mean, this was like the meat and potatoes of what SmackDown was. It seems like every time I look down, it was either a team coming out, a team getting pinned, or they were going to commercial. I mean, it just it I don't know. I also was kind of monitoring the chat and rolling with the chat. The chat was going crazy for Mitch and I. Blaze was in there, stirring up trouble as he does. We had an appearance from Triple H, Vince McMahon, Liv Morgan, and Orange Cassidy. So
Wow.
that was kind of the highlight of the stream. But the gauntlet match started out with Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews. Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews versus the Street Profits. The Profits would win and then go on to face. I think then it was Pretty Deadly, and then they beat Pretty Deadly, and then they got to the Bloodline. There might have been another. Oh, Legado del Fantasma was in there at some point. I looked up and I saw Garza, I think, going through the ropes, and then the next thing I see, I look over and they're getting pinned. So I mean, I probably, if I was actually paying attention, I probably would have been yawning during this, but I was keeping myself awake by actually, messing around and talking to the chat. So what were your thoughts on the gauntlet match, the Crawford segment, Tiffany and Nia, and Jade and Bianca getting their rematch finally on SmackDown next week?
Wow, that was a lot to unpack there. um,
There's
uh,
Ram.
Ram, how are you doing tonight? Subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you. So, all right, Jade and Bianca getting the rematch for next week on SmackDown. I have no problem with that.
Nope.
No problem with that. They're gonna take on Elbow Fire and Oladon. I don't think they're gonna get the titles back from them. I think they're gonna get an retainment here. I don't see them regaining the tag team belts. Um, the segment where she came in and she showed her the briefcase and she was going to get her a new briefcase. Again, I didn't have a problem with that. That was fine for what it was. It's just to show that she got damaged last week with the money in the bank and she's getting a new briefcase, like you said, Nick. And she's going to get it enhanced. So she's going to have something pretty to walk around with on the floor.
Yep.
Just don't make her cash in too early. We've already had a disaster with the men cash in. Wait until the proper moment comes and then have her cash it in. Please don't do that. Please, because we've already wasted one already. Grandizer, how are you? Um, so, um, yeah, the gauntlet match itself, it was fine for what it was. I'm not going to say it was spectacular or
Yeah.
anything like that. It was good. The Profits held their own in the match. But I knew the minute Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu came out, the whole thing was going to go to the bloodline, and I just
Yeah.
I just knew that. You
Yep.
knew that that's the road that they were going to travel on. You knew that, and now I know everything will be solidified by next week. They are going to walk away with those titles, and it's a shame. It's a damn shame because Gargano and Ciampa didn't even have a chance to even have a good title run or title reign and everything. So that's my thoughts on it. It's just it was okay. It was fine.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It was. I mean, it held up, I guess, but yeah, Grandizer. SmackDown was over about 40-ish minutes ago. Mitch and I did that, and then this is a separate just review podcast of about SmackDown, where we shuffle through guests. So far, Earl has been the second the second guest. I did a short episode last week. 2 weeks ago, I wasn't able to do it because I was sleeping. I missed SmackDown altogether, which I wish I would have missed this SmackDown and not the one 2 weeks ago. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, the gauntlet match just it's smart that they made it a gauntlet match because it was going to be a taped episode of SmackDown. And that could eat up a big chunk of the time and then, fill in the commercials, whatever. Um, yeah. And then Terrence Crawford being a part of it again was great. Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin finally getting on TV was great. The Street Profits, they, like you said, they look good. Pretty deadly getting back into in ring type competition. I do like. I don't like them as a tag team, but it's fun to see new faces and whatnot. But yeah, Gato del Fantasma, whatever, they can go back to NXT. They can go to ROH and AEW. They can go anywhere else that I'm not going to go and watch. That would be fantastic. Yeah, I mean, the Bloodline, they were once again on top, no doubt. And then Theory and Waller, they're still holding strong, which is a shock to me that they haven't done that split yet. So
Hmm. Yeah, they haven't pulled that trigger yet. They keep teasing it.
yeah,
They keep teasing it. They give you little teases and little nuance of the split, but not yet. They're not ready to pull that trigger yet.
yeah,
Um. Uh. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with your assessment, Grandizer. It was all right for what it was. Like I said, it was just going through the motions.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's hard to there. What I mean, to give context, SmackDown was taped last week and then showed tonight. It was a double taping last week since they are in
Mm-hmm.
Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what we're referring to. Um, yeah, so they did the best they could, I guess.
Right.
That is, that's for sure. So leading into SummerSlam, it's just not what you would want to see. Um, yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, Raw will be better. It'll pick back up, and we go into the week of SummerSlam with better momentum than what this has left us with, because this was not it. I was not a fan. Um, I had more fun talking and interacting with the chat than actually watching the show. So, um, I it was okay, whatever, blah blah blah. Not too much to talk about on it. So I mean, we kind of went over SmackDown. We gave our thoughts. So the other stuff that just looking over Twitter and seeing other news and other rumors, I guess.
Next
The
second. Sorry.
What's that?
Okay. No, Grandizer.
Roman Reigns tease, that is true. At the very end with Solo whatnot. So I mean that's exciting. Um, that is very true. That was fun. Get you thinking maybe they'll have Roman, like you said, come out next week on SmackDown versus at SummerSlam. I see him coming out at SummerSlam because they took him off of the episode that he was advertised for.
Right,
But that's
exactly.
that's just me. How does today's matches affect next week? The gauntlet match made the tag title match for next week. Jade and Bianca got their rematch for next week. Um, and that's really all we know that what's coming for next week for SmackDown. And then we know for Raw, we got Rollins gives his referee instructions, and Raw will also be on Sci-Fi for the next 2 weeks because of the Olympics, which had a very, very weird and very interesting opening ceremony. I'm seeing videos all over Twitter, and people are not happy. So
Yeah,
uh,
this was filmed earlier today. It was doing a driving rainstorm and everything, and because of the time difference and everything, they had to tape the opening ceremonies, and from what I saw, it didn't look well produced. It looked like it was just like rushed, like like let's get this
yeah,
out, let's get this out, let's get this
yeah,
out and get it done.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
what I'm looking at right now, it doesn't. It looks like it's just a big joke. It doesn't. I mean, a guy is. I can't even explain it. I'm trying to. I don't even know. I don't want to get into that because that's not what this is. But I mean,
right.
that looks like a joke more than what SmackDown was tonight. So I'm just gonna keep on scrolling. Here's something about CM Punk. PW Chronicle reports from Fightful Select. CM Punk has overcome the reputation that he had coming back to WWE and has been very, very easy to deal with. And CM Punk quote tweeted that and said, "Working with adults, greater than sign."
Tony Khan. Anyway,
The Young
yeah.
Bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Lady Gaga, Celine Dion at the Olympics. I don't know what that was. Moving on. I forgot the Olympics were
Yeah.
on. Yeah, I think a lot of people did, and a lot of people will try to forget that they're on after
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
all the
yeah,
BS opening ceremonies. Um,
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, CM Punk. There was a lot of stuff coming out about him today about his contract apparently being up. Dave Meltzer was talking about he signed a short term deal back in November, and it's now almost up, and they're working to get a long term extension. CM Punk apparently debunked that by a post on his Instagram story, basically saying Meltzer was lying. I don't know what he was lying about. If Punk is actually on a longer term deal than what Meltzer is saying. I do think Punk is probably definitely wanting to to stay long term. I mean, long term. I say long term, like his career isn't on the back end, but stay
Yeah.
in WWE and work out that way. So, um, I mean, I'm trying to look and see anything else. Your thoughts on Punk possibly work getting a long, what do you think a long-term deal is for CM Punk
Well,
and the
I
rest of his
think,
career?
yeah, I think when he did came back to WWE, he was on a short leash because we didn't know what we were going to get.
Yeah.
And Endeavor didn't know what we were going to get because if he did the same thing he did in AEW, I'm quite sure we would have heard something on the internet, some of the future endeavors, because they're not playing around with that anymore.
Yep.
Those days are over. And this is not the McMahon regime anymore that will just pat you on the back and say, okay, it's just a behavior, and then that's no, they're not doing that anymore. They don't want any distractions from what they're doing and what their mission statement is. So as far as Punk goes, I can see the WWE has already probably after maybe the short term deal had expired and they did sign him to a longer term, which means I probably maybe signed him for 3 to 4 years, I would say, or maybe 3 to 5 or whatever, or however the contract is, and sign him that way. I'm going to say in the early side question, they probably re-signed him for a 5 year deal and gave him 5 years and gave him whatever money he's looking for because he has totally changed his stripes since coming back to the WWE. He's been more productive, and he's been more cooperative, and he's been more reachable when they need him in a clutch, and especially with this storyline going on with McIntyre. Um, but I have to give you kudos because you did call that Rollins was going to be the third man and the referee, and I have to give you props on that. That was something I wanted to do because I said I know I'm going to see it on Friday. So I said, well, when I see him on Friday, I have to give him his flowers,
Yep.
and give him the flowers. I must. So. So that is something I have to give you kudos on. But here's the question that I have for you, Nick. What kind of referee is Rollins going to play in this match? And can he be impartial? Can he call it down the middle? Can he just let ego aside and say, look, listen, this is something that's on the line. Something is on the line here. We're either going to get a trilogy in the match, or or is this one and done? I mean, that is something that I'm kind of like want to know in the crystal ball. But before I even get to that part, I need to ask you and your personal opinion. What do you think? I mean, do you think Rollins can play an impartial referee here?
Yeah. um, I I can see it going so many different ways just because Rollins hates both of them equally. So, however he calls it for one guy he hates is probably going to be the same for how he calls it for the other guy that he hates. So, in a way, he might, mess with the both of them and throw out like a slow count or a quick count or whatever. But I think he's going to do it to both of them and not like, try to help Punk out more than he helps Drew out. Ultimately, I, 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 I think, and I can see them doing the trilogy with McIntyre and Punk from SummerSlam to Bash in Berlin to Bad Blood, right? So trilogy, and then in Bad Blood, depending on what Punk looks like and how Punk holds up and how McIntyre holds up, where the world title goes. Say it goes to Gunther, you can then have Rollins and Gunther at Survivor Series, or you can do. I mean, depending on if they do a regular Survivor Series or War Games, everything can all be switched around like it has been in the past. But yeah, I think Rollins will we'll call it down the middle, but not in the sense of being fair to both guys.
Right, right,
He's gonna do the same thing he does to Punk that he does to McIntyre.
right. Okay. All
So,
right.
yeah, I don't know. I at this point, I rather would have seen the triple threat, so Rollins could be on the actually on the SummerSlam card wrestling, but I also kind of do want to see McIntyre and Punk one on one, just because I think a one on one match is way better than you know I think doing one on one with each guy, Rollins versus McIntyre, and then Rollins versus Punk, and McIntyre versus Punk. I think they all three of them deserve to have the spotlight on one another in a one on one match versus in a triple threat match.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that assessment. I'm going to agree with that. But let me ask you something. Would you, with Punk and Drew, would you do a best of seven?
No, no, no.
No.
No, no,
Okay.
you can do a trilogy and leave it at that. Their feud has been going on like we had, like we had four matches prior, but because of how physical it did get. But yeah, no. This isn't the Young Bucks and FTR. We don't need to really
Right,
lean
right.
into this is where the best wrestle and we put on the best wrestling matches and we're gonna have a mouthful of thumbtacks and super kick this dude with a mouthful of thumbtacks and take a chair shot right to someone's head and Corey Graves got I guess was getting hate for what he tweeted um after Blood and Guts, which I mean, yeah, people are stupid whenever it comes to them versus us, which is what Corey Graves said he did not mean it as, but people still took it that way. So yeah, no, it doesn't need seven matches. It's been going on long enough to even out to seven matches. I think the three matches, the first match they're going to do is going to be Magic, even with a special guest referee. The second match they
Right.
would do, the second match they would do would be will be even better. My guess it would be with a stipulation, and then the third match they do will be will be equivalent to Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland in their Texas Death Match. I'm not saying that's what the match is going to be, but it's going to be. I think it could be on that level.
Well, I mean, if it's well, the show is called Bad Blood. So if it was if it was if it's them in that match in Bad Blood, if it's them, I would do a three stages of hell match because
I
that
yeah
that is something that I would be very interested to see. Very interesting, and I would be here for it.
yes
Um,
100%.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I
so go ahead, man.
no no
Go
no
ahead, Mike.
go ahead.
No, no, no. Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
No, I was just gonna say, Bad Blood is the is they're bringing Bad Blood back for the anniversary of the first Hell in a Cell match, correct?
Right,
Okay, yeah. So
right.
I mean I would either three stages of hell, like you said. Someone else said that to me, I think on Facebook. Or just straight Hell in a Cell. Um,
Yeah, that'll work for me.
yeah. So yeah, Punk and McIntyre has a chance to do something really really special. And then towards the after through they can take that through the end of the summer into the fall, and then the fall into the winter you can do. I mean, you could do Punk and Rollins, or I mean, scratch that. You could do Punk, Rollins and McIntyre, and you could throw Punk in against Gunther or Damian Priest for that world title. You could then have the title on Punk, going into the Rumble or Elimination Chamber. You take you do the title then. You do the title then if Gunther doesn't have it already. And then that would set up, I think, for Rollins and Punk at WrestleMania in Vegas for the title or not for the title. I could go with either one.
Right. I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree wholeheartedly. But you know something? Here's the thing. I'm looking for the SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It's
Yep.
gonna be a fun evening. We've got a ton of matches to go through. This is next week on the Wrestling Experience. We're going to do the predictions. We're gonna do the prediction show. Me and Sarah are gonna be doing the prediction show, and then next Friday we have the SmackDown. It'll
Yep.
be you, me, and Sarah.
Yep.
We've got the SmackDown next week, the go home show. And both go home shows from Raw to SmackDown. I'm looking for a solid go home show. I don't
Yeah.
want anything whack or anything like that. Don't give me anything. Don't put on a whack summer. Don't do that. Don't put
Yeah.
on some whack go home show because we want to invest in this SummerSlam, and you've been building this up for months now. I want something good. I want something I can stick my teeth into on Monday night, starting with Monday night and then next Friday on SmackDown. So yeah, the only thing I'm disappointed in the next week's SmackDown show is the tag team titles changing hands to the Bloodline. I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of it, but that's exactly what they're gonna do. I know WWE, and that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna give those titles to them. But other than that, I'm looking forward to a good go home show.
Yeah. Yeah. Raw should be good. Should pick it back up. Um. Uh. Yeah. SmackDown next week hopefully will be better. Both tag titles switching hands. One or the other switching hands. I mean, it you never know. You never know what is going to happen. I mean, um, yeah, it's going to be It's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds, and what they do post SummerSlam, leading into the fall and everything like that. Getting ready for the switch over from SmackDown from Fox to USA, um, and then Raw staying on USA up until January, and then NXT, of course, making the move over to the CW. They have the Great American Bash on the next 2 weeks, and then it probably is not. There's probably nothing, big in NXT up until Halloween Havoc, which again is in Hershey, PA, and I'm gonna be boots on the ground for sure.
Yeah, I can't. I think that's going to be a good night for the WWE and NXT. I hope the crowd is into it. I expect the crowd to be energized for that telecast. Um, so SmackDown tonight, like I said, yeah, I gave the show a C. The show gets a C for me, and very, very off-putting some of the matches. I'm just like, like I said, the show was taped from last week, and they're going through the motions with that, and like I said, the effort wasn't there. But let's hope and pray that next week's effort is a little bit better on the go home show, and that they deliver an action-packed, in-your-face go home show. That's what I'm used to,
Yeah,
and that's what I hope we get.
yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, WWE is still probably. It probably it is still my favorite. SmackDown is my favorite show throughout the week. But I mean, tonight was tough. It yeah. I mean, it tonight was. I'll give it. I will cut it some slack because it was taped, and everything like that. They're over in Japan. This and that, whatever. But yeah, they gotta pick it up. They gotta pick it up and they can't let let SmackDown be this bad again. Um,
I mean,
I'm just
we sat through some terrible SmackDowns, you and I, when we've done the Smack. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yep. It man, it just tonight was tough to watch. I mean, oof. There's nothing really else that I can say besides I hope that SmackDown is as good as what I think it can be. Um,
Right.
I mean, seven matches total and six title matches. I mean, wow. Um, you know, it it has a chance to be show of the year, I think. Um, and I know that everyone on Twitter is not gonna probably not gonna feel that way. I just
No,
hope that it
no,
doesn't
they
get
won't.
hyped up. I hope it doesn't get hyped up as much as like I've hyped it up in my head and then ends up just being, you know, okay, up and
A
down
total
throughout the
flop.
show. And then at the very end, like, nothing happens and it's just, oh, yeah, that was SummerSlam. If that happens, I think it's pretty safe to say that they really don't have any plans for Cody Rhodes or the WWE title. Um, and they don't have any plans on how to steer their ship without Roman Reigns.
Yeah, yeah. This is, well, you know something, and this is also a test for Triple H and his crew to do a SummerSlam where you would talk about it, but in a good way. Because here's the thing: you want to sell the fan base this good, solid SummerSlam. Because remember, next year SummerSlam goes 2 nights. So, so you what you want to do is you want to sell the one night and see if you could produce something that is conducive to everyone and everyone is happy with it. And we walked away with talking about it, like how good it was versus how flat and uninspired it was.
Yes.
So that is something that you need to understand and put in the memory bank of your head, because now you're saying that you want SummerSlam to the. If this SummerSlam flops, then how are you going to produce a 2 night event? How is that going to work?
Yep.
How's that going to work? And the
Exactly.
matches have to, yeah, and the matches have to make sense.
Yeah. And how are the matches? How is next year's SummerSlam going to make any sense if, say, we get to next year, and Cody is still the champion, and he's still facing the Bloodline, and every single week the Bloodline is still putting out everyone: Randy Orton, Kevin
Right,
Owens, Paul Heyman, Cody Rhodes, every single
right,
week putting someone or someones through a table into the steel
right,
chairs, leaving them laying there like a pack of hyenas just ran through a herd uh, of her gazelle, a bunch of gazelles. Like, it just doesn't
right.
make any sense. How how in the world are you not having Carmelo Hayes go out and win match after match after match and get him up into the title picture for the United States title? How is Andrade not bumped up into that main event spot and winning singles matches to jump up and face Cody Rhodes? Face Cody Rhodes at Bash in Berlin. Like, Andrade has been back for a minute. He looks great in ring. On the mic, he could, still use some work. It's tough to understand his accent. Give him a
Right.
manager. Um, But how are Carmelo Hayes and Andrade? How have they been back or been on the roster, on the SmackDown roster, for however long, and you just, all you can do for them is a backstage segment in a locker room with Byron Saxton? Like, I mean,
Right, right,
what are we doing? Like, you have LA Knight, who gets a shot at Roman Reigns and then falls, takes a nosedive, and then all of a sudden is rejuvenated by Logan Paul, which, to everyone, to what everyone says, would I like to see Logan Paul on TV more? Absolutely. Would I like to see him defend the title more? Yeah, you're damn right I would. But I get why he is the title that the champion that he is. It's to take the title everywhere and to show it to his 26 plus million followers and bring more eyes to the product. So, I mean, that is what it is, no doubt about it. But what is LA Knight going to do as United States champion that Logan Paul didn't do? Is he going to have more matches? Sure, but that means he's going to have to beat everyone else on the roster. I mean,
Right.
he could have 60 title defenses, but that means he 60 people are going to lose, or people are going to lose multiple times. How many losses can Carmelo Hayes take, given that he's had what, two, three, maybe four matches in total, and two of them maybe have been singles matches? I mean, I they it it's not a good spot to be in with where the rosters are, and maybe the brand split does need to come to an end. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that you have this storyline and you have this storyline and you have the, but what you don't want to do is have this storyline be the most important thing on WWE TV, and then the rest of the card gets pushed underneath the carpet, and everybody else is left off the cutting room. Everyone else is left
yep,
on the cutting room floor. And that's something you don't want to do. That's something you don't want to do. That is not a good look, like you said. And yeah, I mean, every week the bloodline comes out and they're taking out everybody. Every week they're coming out and they're taking out somebody. That is going to get tired with the audience very quickly.
I was tired of
Um,
it week two after they started doing that.
yeah, that's going to get weary very quickly. Because I'm starting to fear that is exactly what you're going to do here. You can't keep having them come out every week and be dominant. And I understand you're supposed to have a dominant faction, but what I'm talking about is, all right, show a little weakness in their armor. Show them a little weakness in the armor. Have the baby faces come out and beat the snot out of them. And chase them off or something. Do something like that. But don't every week. Don't every week have them come out and because they stepped to them, now they're going to be destroyed. And then you have them go through to tables and stuff like that. That table spot is going to become old very quickly. Because is that all in your repertoire? Is that
Yeah,
all you do in the repertoire? You drag someone in the corner, you put the butt in the face, and then they drag them on. They put them on the table. That's your repertoire. That's a repertoire. Am I supposed to be intimidated by that? Am I supposed to be intimidated? No, that doesn't intimidate me. That doesn't intimidate me in the least. That's just like the same like you giving toast and butter. It's the same thing. It is nothing. There's no fancy stuff on the toast. It's the same thing, and I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be impressed by that. I'm sorry, but as a wrestling fan for a very long time, I'm not impressed by that. You have to have something more in your repertoire than to just drag someone in the corner and then put the butt to their face and then drag them in the table and then put them in the table and then that's it and then you raise your arms in the air and that's it. That's all you can do. I mean, come on. I'm sorry. I don't. I can't go with that. I can't roll with that. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah. I mean, at least with the OG bloodline, the like you said, the storyline was there. Roman Reigns was telling a story every single week, with the emotion that he played, with the emotion that Paul Heyman played, with the Usos and their chemistry back and forth, and even during in the matches, Roman Reigns was telling a story, being vocal and everything. Right now, Jacob Fatu comes out and he uh, Tama Tonga comes out and they growl. Okay, that's great. They growl. They beat the crap out of people. Okay, who cares? Solo Sokoa is the only one talking right now, and he's just now finding himself being able to cut an actual promo. Um, I mean, and every single week having to end SmackDown with the Bloodline putting everyone through a table and then rolling another vignette of Solo with the blood. Like, I mean, I'm bored of it already. I would have rather had another 4 years of Roman Reigns holding the title and giving us masterpieces and pure cinema every WrestleMania, every SummerSlam, every year at the Royal Rumble, and gone on, a month or two without him, and then he comes back, and then I would have rather done that than what we're getting now. But that's just me.
I mean, you have every right to have that grievance. Earl, what's his name? um,
Earl looks
no,
so
I'm all
sleepy,
right.
heavy eyes. It's late on the West Coast, East Coast. Wake up, Earl.
No, no, I'm awake, Grandizer. I'm awake. I'm just falling asleep with this Bloodline 2.0 because I'm bored with it.
Yeah.
I'm bored with
Yep.
it. I'm bored
Yeah.
with it
Yep.
because you don't have anything in your repertoire, and that is something I always preach. I've always preached that on every show that I've been on as a guest, or my own show, or anything else that I do. I always say, and I will always say this: you need something in your repertoire. You need something in your repertoire. And
Exactly.
I need something more than you just giving a fisherman suplex or a butt to the face, and then you bring him to the corner, and then you put him through the table, and then you all stand over him, and you raise your arms, and everybody's telling you that the audience is telling that you suck, and everything else, and it's just boring. It's boring, and I don't like boredom. I don't. I need something more. It's just like with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, when came here in the WWE, his repertoire was boring. It's boring. Show me
Well,
something else. Show
I,
me something
I
else,
mean,
please.
I'm a big
Mm.
fan of that the big fight feel, and Brock Lesnar brought that big fight feel every single time. Because
Yeah,
anyone they put in there with Brock Lesnar, they have to be ready to go and they have to be at their very best. And they are going to go out there and they are going to have either they are going to get, every little bit give every little bit that they have and it's not going to be enough, or they're going to give every little bit that they have and Brock Lesnar is going to put them through that much more, and then they're going to walk out as a champion, and that can either solidify a championship, or it could kick off a championship, or it could do, I mean, if you're Kofi Kingston, I guess it could destroy a championship in 10 seconds, in 8 seconds or whatever. But if you're Seth Rollins, you know, it could elevate you to that next level. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, everyone was tired of seeing them wrestle each other, but every single time we got Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, it was pure magic. And I mean, I, there's very, very few people that are wrestling soulmates, and Brock Lesnar, I think, has morphed into a lot of people's soulmates in the wrestling ring, and every time they go out there, they put on a banger of a match.
yeah. Again, I'm not going to trample on that thought process. But here's the thing. Here's the thing with Roman and Brock. They need something refreshing in their repertoire.
And that's true.
Because
That's true. No doubt. No
I
doubt.
mean, because you can't just go into the ring and do an M5, a Kimura lock, and that's all you got. Can you give me something else to work with? Yeah, can you give me something else? You know, when you're a premier athlete and you are in the ring and you are prominent in the ring, you have to have more je ne sais quoi to you. You can't just go out there every week and give somebody a Kimura lock, a suplex, and a Superman punch and a spear. Those things are old. and they're going to get old very quickly. So you got to adapt with the times, and you got to come out there and do a hula carrera. You know, and you do a suplex, do a plunger, do a step up in security, a tombstone, something like that, that we never expect you to think you would couldn't do, but you've done it, and you shock the audience with it. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that irks me with the two of them. And you don't have nothing in your repertoire. And when you don't have nothing in your repertoire, you don't have me. Because I can't go with you every week to do that. You can't keep doing that every opponent. I mean that's whack.
Okay.
That's whack.
So my what I would say to rebuttal that in a sense of, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like it does get old, but everything. But that also it goes into what type of athletes Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar are. They are e- they are superstars in every sense of the word, and they have that big fight feel. And that's why they are only around every so often. Whenever you do see the title, whenever you do see them, it's magical. They get in the ring, they are bigger than everyone in that arena. They are bigger than everyone in that stadium, and that the move set that they have, that's all they need because they're just that good. It goes into what they were trying to do with TKO for the merger and trying to make it feel like the UFC and show everyone arriving to the arena and show everyone, giving them the cool entrances where they walk through the backstage area before the main event or a big time title match. And Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, that's just the type of athlete that they are. And I don't want to see, I would rather see, you know, a big dude like Brock Lesnar or a big dude like Roman Reigns throw someone around and, just, take the, do have a sequence like that than all the high flying and jumping and flips and dives and whatever else. And then you have guys, but I also like seeing guys that can do both, like a Seth Rollins or like a Braun Breaker, guys who are quick and they show that they're quick. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, they like that slower pace. They like to pick apart their food before they eat it and show that they are the alpha dogs. They are the alpha males. I mean, like Pat
Right.
McAfee says, Brock Lesnar is the alpha male of our species. If the aliens invaded Earth and we have one person to send and one person only, it is Brock Lesnar, hands down, no buts about it.
Well, I'm going to tell you this much. Lesnar looks like he's going to be trading his wrestling ties for prison stripes, because this thing with Mr. McMahon has a dark cloud
Yeah,
on
no,
Mr. Lesnar.
I think that was all a bunch of let's see who we can drag down with this ship that's sinking. And I mean, like Triple H has said today, whenever Brock Lesnar wants to come back, the invitation is on the table. So yeah, no, I think Brock Lesnar will be, if he wants to come back, he will be back. Um, I mean, Brock Lesnar versus Gunther, Brock Lesnar versus Braun Breaker, um, Brock Lesnar versus Damian Priest. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Uh, Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk, Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins again, Brock Lesnar and 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 Jacob Fatu. Um, I mean, if Brock Lesnar wants to come back, he'll come back. If he doesn't, he won't. It's as simple as that.
Because his reputation is damaged.
I
And
I
yeah,
I, I disagree on that.
his reputation is slightly damaged. And the question is, and the really big question is, yes, Triple H wants him back, but the audience, now that's a great question. That is something you need to understand. Is half of the, because I'll tell you this much, there are Brock Lesnar fans out there, and they
I'm
they
one of
they
them.
would yeah, you would, but then there are others that would like, I don't want that perv around here, and you need to get rid of him immediately. Because you know some fans are gonna say that. You know some fans are gonna say that.
Yeah, and
And
if
WWE,
those fans would
yeah,
say that, guess what? I don't give two Omos's about those fans. I really don't, because those are the
um,
fans that just like to do this. They like to take this, the,
right,
a keyboard, and they like to just type. So they
right,
can take their keyboard and they can go somewhere far, far away. If they don't want Brock Lesnar to come back and have put on the big fight feel and make it a big deal that he is back, that Roman Reigns is back, then they can go watch AW. They can go watch the small guys jump and flip around and do all this and that and take chair shots, stupid chair shots right to the head, and take a super kick with a mouthful of thumbtacks. That's where those fans can go.
right, right.
Yeah, let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna, because, like I said, there are fans that will say that. Then the minute he comes back, there's a Twitter that's going to be blowing up, and most of it will be negative, and most of it is going to be positive, and we're going to be going back and forth like a pendulum. I know how fans work. I know exactly how they work. And I've been around wrestling fans a very long time, and that's how some of them will think. They'll
yeah,
sit there and it's like, I don't want him in here. I don't want him around here.
yeah.
Um,
Then I say to them, then don't watch. Go to the other show. Go watch Wednesdays. Go watch Fridays for an hour, and go watch Saturdays. That I can't get through a Saturday night collision. I can't get through the first 23 minutes before I need to turn it off. So have fun with that. Have fun with the
yeah,
same people over and over again on all three shows, doing the same thing every single week, and have it culminate at Wembley Stadium with 83,000 people in there. Just wait until we bring London WrestleMania to London, and then we really see what Wembley Stadium can hold, and see how
yeah.
how bad of a meltdown Tony Khan has after that.
Yeah, well, you're right. You're right about that. And speaking of London, the WWE brass today was in London, and they met
Yep.
with the mayor of London. And
Yep.
Triple H had said on Instagram that the meeting went very well. It was a productive meeting. The only thing now is when will they pull the trigger, and when will it come to fruition? Triple H has said that logistically it's something that they're concerned with. They are concerned with that. I'm quite sure that people of London will try to work with WWE to quell those concerns. I know one thing is, and I'm going to say this: we can't have WrestleMania go live. So what they're going to have to do, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to pick 2 days in the week where they can film it, and film it they will, and then bring it back here, and then stream it on the Peacock, because of the time difference, and on how's that going to work. How's it
Well,
going to work for everyone, and how's that look on camera? So that's something that needs to get worked out. Because I was thinking about that in my head. I was like, how are they going to pull this off with the time difference, and getting it in sync? That's something. I mean, they could do it in the afternoon. They could do two rest. They could do it live in the afternoon, and then make it London time. That's something that they could do, because they've done that before in Saudi Arabia, with the Crown Jewel. They've done that before,
yeah, but
where
well,
WrestleMania starts at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
the the Earl, the time difference in London is only 5 hours.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I didn't, I
only
didn't,
five.
I
Like,
didn't know that.
because
I didn't know
all
that.
eight, all in starts at 2 o'clock. That's all it is.
Right.
You just start the show at the show would just start at 2 o'clock for us here in the States. So you know that that's not anything. The time difference issue is for whenever they go to Australia.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So yeah, that since Chris Leclerc, since Bailey got pinned, she's definitely winning at SummerSlam. I mean, like I said earlier, people can read into it how they want to read into it. But I mean, I wouldn't mind it if Nia Jax loses. I really wouldn't. But then you know, what does that say about winning King and Queen of the Ring? Um, so but yeah, I mean, you know, we're gonna have to see next week. But it is about 11:30. That was my target time. We've been going for an hour and 20, so I
Well,
think
that's
this is a
pretty good.
very
That's pretty good discussion. That was a very
yeah
lengthy talk
yeah
conversation.
yeah. So this
Um,
was a very very good episode. We'll wrap it up with your your next thought and however you would want to uh close us out with your thoughts, and then I can do the final wrap up, play the outro, get out of here, and I'm gonna go play some college football on my PS5.
and I'm gonna put my feet up and relax and give you Monday Night Raw. Yeah. This was a good discussion. Me and Nick. Every time I talk to Nick, I always feel at ease because he helps me get off the ledge and everything like that. I'll be concerned about something, and then I'll talk directly to him, and then he puts me back in the universe and makes me go in the right direction. Yeah, so this was a good conversation. I had fun tonight. I want to thank Nick again for inviting me onto
Yep.
the Post Bill podcast. I really appreciate it. I wish you the good luck with the show because this is a very good conversation that anybody that does SmackDown could have.
Yep. Yep.
Sitting with you
Yep.
and they're talking SmackDown and other things that are
Yeah.
going on around the wrestling world. I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back in cyberspace on Monday night with Raw. It'll be me, Denise, in London. We're going to bring you Monday Night Raw. It is the go home show. It is the go home show for Monday Night Raw, and that will be in St. Paul, Minnesota. And I think on Sci-Fi, this is going to be a must-see Monday Night Raw because Rollins is coming out with that special thing for the two combatants at
Yep.
SummerSlam. I've never heard of this before, never seen a referee do this before, but I have a feeling there's going to be some tomfoolery going on in the ring with these three, and that will set the tone for next Saturday night in Cleveland.
Yep.
But again, like I said, me, Nick, and Sarah will be back next Friday night for SmackDown, the Go Home Show in Cleveland, and we're going to have fun with that. I wish you a lot of fun and a great weekend on your PSE, and I hope that you score a lot on the video game.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yep. So Raw, you got Dynamite, the wrestling experience on Thursday, SmackDown on Friday, and if you and Sarah want to do post bell again with me next week, by all means, we can take a 20-minute break afterwards. Hopefully after watching a better SmackDown, or if it's so good and it blows our freaking mind hole, we can go right into post bell and chat about that for a little bit since
Absolutely.
I started a new job this week, so I do work every other Saturday.
Oh,
So next,
congratulations.
thank you. I'm finally in a out of the warehouse rotation and cycle that I've been in for the last, like, I don't even know how many years. But I'm in an office job now, so a call center. So I'm on the phone all day dialing and trying to sell people sell windows and doors, set appointments for windows and doors estimates. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, so it was quite an interesting week going through training and all that stuff. So but I do work every other Saturday, so I will work next Saturday. So we might not go as late, or we can go for I might go for 20-30 minutes. So we
That's fine.
maybe rocking after doing it right after SmackDown would probably be better. and then I work at 9 on Saturday. So, but I only work until 1 o'clock, so I'll still be home to do SmackDown for Team Facebook with Mitch, and possibly Denise, if I think he has to figure that out. You guys have a good night, Nick and Earl. Don't forget to bring back the other lady along with Sarah.
I don't know
Not
who the
sure
other
which
lady
other. Yeah,
is.
I don't know which other lady is, but thank.
Okay, Grandizer.
Yep. So, and also one thing before we wrap it up completely, you said about the referee instructions. I think I I'm taking it as like they do in boxing, whenever before they start a fight, they say, "All right, we went over the instructions in the locker rooms. Uh,
Oh, okay.
no hitting below the belt, blah blah blah." I think they're going to come out and set it up as like, to really give it that, like I said, the big fight feel, and like a MMA boxing type of feel to this match. Um, which I hope is the case. If Rollins takes it serious and doesn't come out, wearing some insane referee outfit, moderation referee shirt or whatever, like I saw on Twitter earlier today, I'll be all for it. But yeah, I mean, I'm we could go on for another 30 minutes about this, but I'm tired of seeing Rollins, be the Joker character. I think it's time for him
Yeah.
to bring it on back to like the architect, or the beast slayer, the king slayer, whatever. The other lady was when Earl with Mitch and doing a play-by-play a couple of days ago.
Are you talking about Denise? Are you talking about Denise Grandizer? Is
I
it?
would
Oh,
Yeah, I would. My guess, that would be my guess.
I believe that you. I believe that's who you're talking about. You have to understand something. We have to spread out everyone here in the
Yep.
wrestling division, who we work with, because of their schedule. Yeah, I knew you were talking about Denise. Yeah, we have to work according to everyone's schedule. Nick no longer wants to do AEW, so I do it with Sarah now. We do it together on Wednesday nights. And when she doesn't do it, Nick doesn't want to fill in. So what I'll do is I will do the show myself. I will do the show myself. I'll still bring you AEW Dynamite. I'll bring you Dynamite, but we have to spread everybody out. We have to change everyone's schedule because we don't want them to get burned out. We don't want to use them too much, and everyone's got to
Yep.
work and everything else, and things are going on behind the scenes. So that is the only reason why you see me sometimes with someone or without someone or what. So, um, yeah, yeah, okay, Grandizer. Okay,
um. Yeah. Nope. We haven't done well. The three of us, we did WrestleMania night one, I believe.
right.
I think this year I did. Yeah, we did that night one of WrestleMania. But yeah, so yeah, and I mean, going forward, like Earl said, AEW is just not cutting it for me right now. I don't enjoy it, and yeah, and so it it comes back to what it was 6 7 months ago. I mean, I haven't even been able to watch it because I've been, doing the new job and everything like that. So, um, but hopefully it gets back to where it was and I can, get back into it and everything. Even NXT, I have pulled away from doing NXT on Tuesdays with London because of work and other stuff. So, uh, maybe hopefully I can get back into it eventually. But
Yeah,
yeah, going
but
forward,
for right now, Nick has a new schedule, and we don't want him to get burned out again. That is something we can't have happen. Nor we don't want anybody else get burned out.
yeah,
So we work with them accordingly when we are scheduled to do. And yeah, I like I said, I'll see Nick again next Friday night. We're gonna do it again. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
Um, so Yeah. Yep. And then SummerSlam. Like I said, I don't know. I Mitch was saying something about Denise maybe uh joining one or the other. I can't remember because it feels like it was so long ago because SmackDown was so boring and I'm just ready to rot my brain and play college football for the next 9 hours while I have the trial. But yeah, SummerSlam will once again be team Facebook, team YouTube. Um and then Bash in Berlin, I believe the girls of the network will be doing their own show for Bash in Berlin. I think I have to work that Saturday as well, so I don't know if I'll be able to even watch it, depending on when I get home from work. And yeah, so that will be the rest of August, and then of course All In is on the Sunday,
Yeah.
I think, before Bash in Berlin. So I'll be live posting that, probably, you know, watching illegally. But don't tell Tony Khan that. I'm not.
Wait, hold on, Nick. You just said something. Hold on. Hello, Tony.
Oh,
Yeah. So here's the schedule. Here's how this is gonna work. Is how this is gonna work. Okay. Me and Sarah are going to have All In. We're gonna do All In London. We're gonna be on the air at 12:15 for that. All In starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're gonna have that. We're gonna have that telecast at 1:15. Um, on August 31st, we have the Bash de Berlin. Now, um, the ladies, the entire ladies of the Queens of the Ring will have they will do the YouTube side, and I'm going to be doing the Facebook side.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
right,
and that's what's going to happen.
right.
SummerSlam, Martina is going to do the YouTube side, and I will have the Facebook side. So that's how that's going to work.
No,
That,
Martina can't do SummerSlam because she was going to be with me on Facebook, but she can't do SummerSlam.
okay, so I
Yeah,
will do the
so
Facebook. I will do the YouTube
yeah,
side.
yep, you're back on
Okay,
YouTube. Um, I will be
okay.
on I will be on the Facebook with Mitch. He was gonna jump back and forth like he did for Money in the Bank, but Martina can't do SummerSlam. Hunter is going to a three legacy show the same day, so he won't be available. And then that's
Okay.
where I don't know if Denise, which one Denise was gonna do, with if she was gonna do Facebook with Mitch and I, or what else, what else, and who else was going to be involved. I know Mac will probably, want to be a part
Yeah,
of that.
Mac is gonna be with me. Me
Yep.
and Sarah are gonna do. It'll be me, Mac, and Sarah. We're gonna
Okay.
do the YouTube side. And
Okay.
if you want to take Denise, you can take Denise and push her over, and then it'll be you, Denise, and Mitch
I
on the
think I yeah.
Facebook side.
Yep, I think that was the consensus and the direction that I think we were going. I know, like I
Right.
said, Mitch had said something earlier tonight, but I've had college football in my brain for the last like 3 hours. I was playing it right before I went live for SmackDown. I walked downstairs at 7:57, and thankfully Mitch was late to like a good 15 minutes late, so I got everything set up and just went live right away. So he didn't even notice that I was, walking right down at 7:57. But whatever. It is what it is. So, but yeah, that will do it for the episode 3 of the Post Bell podcast, SmackDown wrap up. Nick Witosh here with Sleeper Sports Media, Hardcore Sports Network, of course, Earl Cole. We will. I'll be back. Uh, Possibly Wednesday with something new. But that more on that later, and then if not Wednesday, then on Friday for SmackDown and Post Bell, and then again on Saturday for SummerSlam. Earl, of course, will be back starting Monday on Raw, and then the rest of his crazy, insane schedule as he does week in and week out.
Yeah.
From the Hardcore Sports Network, thank you so much for the 12 people who stayed strong with us. I think we got up to 20 at one point. Killed it tonight for both shows. One more comment. The Pearl E. Cole. What? Hurl the Pearl E. All right. On that note, Grandizer, I'm gonna go rot my brain playing college football. Earl, you go
Good
relax,
night.
and I'll see you next Friday. Yeah.
See you guys. Yeah.